So we have a president who has 34 felony convictions. We have a president who created meme coins in order to make himself billions of dollars and enrich himself and his buddies. We have a president who is willfully undermining the US Constitution, which is Republicans' talking point all the time. We have people in Congress who do insider training to make themselves millions of dollars. We have people in government taking millions of dollars from lobbyists in order to screw the rest of us and enrich themselves. We have congressmen who have been convicted of either bribery, rape. We have real criminals in the White House, but they want to go after people who are still in their work clothes at their work sites, building this fucking country, feeding this fucking country. But somehow they're the ones being targeted, not the crooks, not the thieves, not the conniving people sitting in the White House. And mind you, this isn't just the Republicans. Democrats have let this happen. We are here because of the Democrats. We are here because Democrats ruin every possible chance of us having actual true progressive change in this country, because they're treating Congress like a retirement home, while Republicans were playing chess, playing the long game. And now look at where we're at. I have seen fathers, mothers being ripped away from their children. Their fathers, hardworking fathers, who will not be going home to their families. And everything that we're seeing is exactly the reason why I will die on this hill. I will never forgive people who voted for this and support this. This is the modern day Gestapo. This is fueled by white supremacy.
What the hell? Thank you, Donald Trump, for cutting thousands of jobs at FEMA, for reducing billions of dollars of funding for FEMA as hurricane season starts today, June 1, 2025. I know the people in Florida, the residents here like me, are really thankful that you have done this. We see the benefits. I'm confident that also the people in North Carolina, in Texas, in South Carolina, in Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Virginia, New York, New Jersey, all the areas that tend to see hurricanes visit, are really, really thankful that you have done this. I am glad that you have the infinite wisdom to make such an excellent decision. I remember how, when Biden was president, you complained, especially in North Carolina and also at Butler, you were in Butler, Pennsylvania, making comments about how poorly the Biden administration did. They were only giving people $750. They were only doing this. They were only doing that. And you have slashed FEMA. And when the hurricanes do come, and they are expecting this year to be an above average season with 3 to 5 major hurricanes, clearly we don't know where they're going to go. We're going to see what you do and how you do. And I can't wait for MAGA to call you out, which they never will. They never will, because they operate with burned out light bulbs and they can't see anything. But I'm thanking you on behalf of everybody in advance. And even Governor DeSantis in Florida made comments this last week that we can expect to see significantly less funding from FEMA because of you and your cuts and reduction in employees. Thank you very much. You're really about making America first. Truly you are. As long as America is Elon Musk and yourself and the other billionaires.
Anybody else feel like America and their politicians need to be put in front of the world court? Like, I really feel like we need to file a lawsuit against these politicians. Seriously. Like, they have just literally just been getting away with schmurder for way too long. Because, I mean, granted, we're already seeing that even the Supreme Court is not on our side. Maybe we do need to take them to the international court. Maybe they need to get put in front of those people, because there's no justice when you're putting them in front of the Supreme Court. I don't even know how we can even go about suing the United States government. Look what they're doing to us. Like, seriously, look what they have done to our country. Not only have they robbed us for decades using our tax dollars, they have involved us in wars that have absolutely nothing to do with us. They have lied about history in order to make themselves look like the victors. They have created racism in order for us to be divided as a nation. Then when we even think about talking about reparations, they're not going to give Black Americans reparations, but they've paid reparations to everyone else outside of this country. They've been shitting on us. It doesn't matter if you're black or white. If you're part of the 99%, you've been getting shitted on. And they've put foreigners in front of us and above us. This is no disrespect to the, my international people. It's not y'all fault. But they need to have their asses We deserve some justice. I mean,
So just like everything, it's always raining on our parade. I just found out now that when you work overtime, we thought we wouldn't be getting taxed on it and you'd be able to keep your own money. Now it's going to be done like at the end of the year as like a tax refund, tax exemption, whatever the hell you want to call it. So when you file your taxes, you have to keep track of when you work and then you'll get your taxes back. We don't need money back at the end of the year. That's a little bit too long, too late. We need the money back like now when we work, so we actually can use the money to pay for the shit that we can't afford, groceries, gas, all the shit that's too expensive. I think they're missing the point. Like, once again, I told you how the rich and the wealthy don't understand how poor people and working class live. We can't wait till the end of the year to get a couple $100 back, if whatever the amount is, $50 or $200 back at the end of the year. We need the money each week so we can afford to live, so we can afford to put gas in our cars and buy groceries, because everything in this country is so fucked up and so expensive. This whole thing is out of control, and this is a total blow. I don't think anybody's impressed with this shit right now, because I sure as hell, I'm not impressed with this. This is fucking ridiculous.
There are so many reasons why I'm already looking forward to the end of the Trump administration, but one of those reasons is that I can't wait to see Caroline Leavitt and all these other Trump officials try to assimilate back into American society after parroting authoritarian, dictatorial talking points on live television for 4 straight years every single day. Like, you have been lying to and gaslighting the American public every day. We're not going to forget that just because the administration is over, just because you're not the press secretary anymore in 4 years. No one is going to forget the role that you played in the downfall of American democracy and the takeover of the Trump regime. I hope she has the biggest wake-up call of her life when she tries to spend time with normal American citizens and has to realize the hard way that nobody fucking likes her, that no one wants to hear her talk. No one wants to spend time with her. Like, she's been in her little Trump bubble already for too long, to the point that she thinks she can say and do whatever she wants and not be held accountable by anybody. That's not the case. And I cannot wait for her to figure that out in real life, in real time.
I wake up in my car to start the day. I used to have an apartment, but thanks to tariffs and inflation, traditional housing is no longer affordable. The good news is I'm already prepared for my commute to work. Time to make my way to the Apple, Chevron, Comcast, Tesla complex to start my shift. Those wonderful companies merged after antitrust laws were abolished, and now everyone works for the only employer left in the country. Before I can enter, a government agent searches my car to make sure I'm not harboring any immigrants, and then searches my phone to make sure I haven't said anything mean about Daddy President. The agent waves me through, but reminds me I will have to submit to a pregnancy test before I can leave for the day. All reproductive activity is state business now. When I get to my workstation, I join in the pledge to the president. They've started requiring this every morning to thank our great leader for our lives. Then I spend 14 hours adding tiny screws to smartphones for the billionaires. Thank goodness manufacturing has been reshored. Why should anyone but Americans enjoy these unskilled low-wage jobs for pennies per hour? I can't wait to have arthritic hands before I turn 30. I heard that at that point, they take you out back and finish you off like one of those racehorses with a broken leg. Huzzah! I'll soon be free of this mortal coil. After I take my pregnancy test, I'm off to motherhood training. The government started forcing... incentivizing us to build the next generation. Each class is filled with reminders of our expectations to strengthen our great nation. As I leave, I answer the screening questions. Yes, I love the president. No, I don't have any problems or complaints. And I do not like vaccines, before I'm on my way back to my car for the evening. I flip through the remaining state-approved media channels. My options include the Christian Nationalist station, the Fox News Max America channel, and a station that just plays Lee Greenwood and Kid Rock songs. I finally settle on none of these options, choosing to simply cry myself to sleep as usual. God bless the USA.
I spent time last night talking to someone that had left MAGA, and I wanted to know how they got into it and how they got out of it. And they grew up in a conservative area, and their family was conservative. I don't know that they were really religious, but the father was very pro-life. Like aggressively so. And so he's like, that's all I knew about that. And to me, it felt like you had to vote for Trump if you cared about babies. He goes, because to me, that was murdering children, which in a cult, that's what it is. And so when you hear arguments from the other side, it's just people that don't care about murdering babies. So you don't entertain the thought. And I said, well, how did you reconcile things with, Trump not being a good person? And he said, well, anytime someone said he was a racist or he was homophobic and stuff, he goes, my brain would pick up any time that he had done something that sounded the opposite. And then that was just enough, because my brain needed him to be the one that protected the babies, because I didn't have another option. And so I said, so you felt like you were a good person doing the right thing, saving these babies? He's like, well, of course, because that's all I knew. And that's kind of the point, though, is from their side, they think they're doing good. They really do. And it's hard to see from the outside. And it's like, well, we've explained to them, well, yeah, well, let's talk about souls. Some of us have a real opinion about there not being souls. They're not going to listen to that. So that baby is a soul to them, and they are saving that baby. And what we say about it doesn't matter much, especially if you're yelling at them and just calling them names. So you only care about them, it's just they can't hear it. So he said he had an uncle that was pro-choice. And he had to spend some time with him. He was an older uncle, and he said he really took apart like all the beliefs that I had. And I said, now I want to ask you something. I said, was he, grouchy and aggressive with you, or kind of laugh at you when you share your opinions? Or was he very respectful and kind and patient with you? And did you feel safe? And he said, that's exactly the environment it was. It was simply he wasn't going to allow his nephew to go through life believing lies. And so he was going to do what he needed to spend the time with me to make sure I broke through that. He said, so he'd break down all that stuff. And I said, now, if he'd attacked you or made fun of you or told you were stupid, could you have hurt him? And he's like, I would have shut down immediately, because I would have been embarrassed or thought I was stupid or that he was a liar. He's like, it could have gone a lot of different ways. He goes, but he was so kind with me that it just diffused my fight or flight with him. So I could hear him, and I trusted him, so I didn't think he would try and, lead me astray. And he goes, and it is very embarrassing when you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, and he says, so you have to work through that too. And I said, he said, but he also was playful about it. Like, if he wanted to joke about, how they all dress alike or MAGA, like the personality of what MAGA is, like he'd be playful about that. Like we could poke fun at that. And he said, so then that kind of allowed me to laugh about what I had done and what I'd been a part of, as opposed to, look at that, look what you did. It was more like, oh, aren't you glad you don't have to wear the hats anymore? And why don't those people, And so it was more like that. So he goes, so it was information, it was kindness, and it was also playfulness. And I just thought this was a really interesting conversation, because, he wasn't born into it by religion, but that doesn't mean people don't have really conservative beliefs, and especially about abortion. That's a very tricky one, especially when they think they are doing the right thing, because most of them do.
The fact that Trump's racist ass is getting called taco because he can't go through on his tariffs just made my day. That was great. Finance bros, I usually don't not a big fan, but that one is good, because my first thing I remember Trump saying that really pissed me off was that unalivers and rapists are from the countries south of us. And that one just really, just did it for me. And I was like, this man is a racist pig. But now he's getting called taco, and I just think that's fitting. And it stands for something like he's like, I don't know, it basically means he's too pussy to go through on his little tariff. So, Trump, I hope that's your legacy, being abbreviated to taco, because you can't go through on a tariff. That would crash the economy. So please keep not going through on it, but great times.